and welcome to Glimmer of Genius, episode 11. My name's Luke, I make YouTube videos, and on the line with me is level 2 judge Grant and cardboard trader Simon. How are you both doing, alright?
Yeah, sleepy with this late night podcast.
As I said, it's entirely your fault if you would insist on, doing things like putting your children to bed before you take on other responsibilities. Then,
They need to go to bed.
Yeah, that is true. You're being a sensible parent, so can't judge you too harshly.
A sensible parent would have gone, screw the podcast, I'm going to bed. I'm dedicated.
Yeah, a sensible parent would have got to sleep while he can. Yeah. Okay, so on the show today, we're going to briefly talk about the modern metagame in preparation for GP Birmingham, just to throw some thoughts out there for anyone who might be attending that. As well as that, we're going to be playing the Flavour Text Game, and Grant has a saucy brew for us. Is it modern or standard or legacy? What is it?
It's modern. Most of them will be modern, but yeah, this one's modern.
That's cool.
I thought I was going to say Frontier.
No.
Awesome. But before we dive into all of that, Grant, what have you been up to this week in Magic?
Given your advice last podcast, whatever, I decided to give Standard another go on Monday. And I was looking at decks I wanted to start with, and it was the choice between the Pharaoh's Gift deck, which I did quite like, or anything else sort of like along the sort of aggro red vein, effectively. And I looked at the Pharaoh's Gift deck, and I liked it, but I thought, there's a lot of graveyard stuff, like zombies or whatever. People have graveyard hate, so it might win game one and it will just lose. But from what I realised was graveyard hate still isn't that common, to be honest. And I actually lost to a variant of the Pharaoh's Gift deck, so I'm thinking I probably should have done that because it's a bit more spicy, it's a bit more crazy, and I think it's more me. I went with a Rakdos Aggro list I found. So basically it's the Ramanap, or whatever you call it, red aggro list, but then it's got like cut to ribbons and the Ameth Eternal in it, the one with the flip 3, which is quite cool.
Oh yes, the crocodile.
Just so it was a bit more flexible than the red aggro smash thing. So I thought I'd give it a go, but it didn't really do fantastic. Like the last round I lost was against Triska Decaphobia.
Oh what?
Oh dear.
Which I played about the deck before, and it's one of those things where it's at the end of standard where you've got all the things that work together with the crazy card that was like a couple of years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
And it seemed to work really well. It was just like an escort control thing, and it's just kind of, I should have been more happy to lose against it, but I went 0-3 with this deck before we get back in standard, so I don't tilt very much, but I was getting there. So I think next week, I'm going to try and do the Pharaoh's Gift thing, I think.
I wish I was there to witness a tilty Grant. You're usually such a nice player all the time.
I know. This is what standard does to me.
The rage, the salt.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's a particularly cruel twist of fate that you get into standard and then someone does that with your own brew.
I think that's why I was mad. Like, how dare you?
No, I think that's a very human emotion, and I would be exactly.
Yeah, like for once I was actually playing a deck that could be argued to be like a proper deck kind of thing. But then as my girlfriend reminded me, just like that's you being punished for being a normal person. Like, I should not try that.
I love it. So that's the takeaway, is it? Just don't be conventional.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, go for the. I mean, the Pharaoh's Gift deck is known to be a thing, but I'll talk about it later. But I saw like a Mardu. I lost against the Mardu build, which was quite interesting. I still think the blue-white one is better, so I'm going to sort of modify that. I might add red to it for like Fused Visions and also Combustible Gear Hulk, which is what they ran and was really good. Because basically, with Combustible Gear Hulk, you either get some cards or you put them in the bin. But if you put them in the bin, you can then reanimate them with Pharaoh's Gift.
Yep.
And I saw it used and it was really cool. So again, I don't want to do the deck that is known. I just want to copy Chris's deck effectively. So I'm going to try and make my own nonsense and do that, I think.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Simon, what about yourself?
Well, I had the weekend off. My wife took the twins away to visit their great grandma. So I made sure I had a weekend of magic.
Yes.
Starting with our F&M draft, which I 3-0'd.
Hey.
So that was a great start, getting back into magic. First picked the Ramunap Hydra. The 4/4, the one with Vigilance, Reach and Trample gets bigger if you have deserts in play or in the graveyard.
Nice.
I like that.
And followed it up with a second pick, Sand Strangler.
Oh, geez.
So I just went, I'll go red, green, deserts matter.
Wow.
Yeah, it worked really well. I ended up with 2 of the sand crawlers, like the Sidewinder Naga, and then a bit of ramp to the 7/7 Trample of Scry 3.
Such a weird combo.
Well, it's just nice. I ran 2 cuts and
2 cuts.
Yeah, and in the I managed to win by splashing for the ribbons as well sometimes.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, so it's weird. I had great success with cut, and then like the day after, Grant messaged me going, "Got any cut to ribbons?" So I do have some cut to ribbons. It worked out really well. As I said, I went 3-0, and most of my games were really good. I was playing the wall, my favourite wall of Forgotten Pharaohs.
Oh, yeah.
Control a desert, tap it, do 1 damage. I thought I was doing really, really well for deserts, and I got to pack 2 and checked my draft and realised I only had 2.
Oops.
But I did have the Endless Sands though, which was nice. Didn't have the Hippo to combo with it.
No.
But yes, I made sure I picked up a couple more deserts and pack 3. I think 3 deserts is enough. I think.
Is it?
I think I've always played 3 when I'm doing things that matter with deserts. I play 3, and it seems to be you seem to hit 1 in a game that way.
Okay.
I was running 2 mana lifts as well.
Wow.
I think 4 probably sounds better in my head because then you've got like 1 in 10, so that means by turn 3 you should have drawn 1, I guess. But if you think 3 is fine, then that's good.
3, I haven't had any issue. I mean, one game I could have done with drawing it sooner. I drew it and it was fine. I just Sheltered Thickets as well, so my mana base worked out really well enough that I could splash 2 ribbons.
Oh, there we go.
Of course, I didn't have to play the ribbons, but it was a nice little bonus. And sort of people sort of forgot it was in my graveyard as well. So I won games out of nowhere with that, which was quite fun.
Yeah, I mean, if you're heavily red-green as well, it's quite a big ask to splash. So they're probably just in their head go, well, he's not splashing for the second mode.
Yeah, until I play my second mana lift.
Yeah. And then it gets real.
Yeah, the Sifter Worm's really good. I love the Sifter Worm. I'd played 1, and then sometimes you have to play it. Well, I did play 1. they managed to deal with it, and then I'd play a second one and gain another 5 life, and they just go, oh, God. Game over.
Game over, man.
It was joyful to see the look of despair in their faces.
Speaking of despair on other people's faces, I hear that you did very well in some other.
Yeah, so I started the weekend off with a draft, and then Saturday and Sunday was our games day weekends. Saturday I came second, running your Black Zombies list.
Ooh.
I made the changes you suggested. You sent me someone else's list, didn't you? The person that
it was the top 8 list, I think, from the Pro Tour. I basically literally just copied that, minus a few cards I didn't have, and then
Saturday was only an 8-player event. What did I play against? I played against Good Pharaoh's Gift twice, and lost against it twice. I lost against it both times, including in the finals, which was very depressing.
Was it absolute nonsense, or was it just they got a bit lucky?
I only managed we played 5 games in total against that deck, and I only managed to win 1. And that was because I got off to a really fast start. Unfortunately, the deck had nothing, no outs for it, nothing in the sideboard. I didn't have Dispossess. So all I had was Transgress the Mines. And then the main, there was the 2 land. Sacrifice it, exile all cards in the graveyards. Yeah, I never saw it against him.
How quickly did it sort of get to a point where not really go off, but you know what I mean? Did it get to, let's say,
turn 4.
Wow, that's quick.
Turn 4 is when they can get the artifact out and start producing a good number of heavy hitting 4/4 zombies with extra abilities like Fabricate 2 and nonsense like that. So I played that deck. I played the Zombie Mirror Match, or close to a Mirror Match. That was fine. What else did I play? Oh, I beat Blue Red Control in the semi-finals.
Impressive.
What does that even look like now?
Huh?
What does Red Blue Control even look like? Is it the Drake Haven one or whatever?
Yeah, it plays Gear Hulks and counter spells and draw spells.
Okay.
And
a braid.
What's it? Beltran Suns.
Yeah.
So undeterred, I went back on Sunday for Games Day Part 2. I had 14 players this time, and I smashed it. Yeah. I went undefeated all day.
Awesome.
I got to play Frey Insanity deck, match 1. That's if they manage to get 2 Frey Insanities down, you're in a lot of trouble quite quickly.
Yeah, you've got to kill them fast, haven't you?
Yeah. Round 2 was against Zombies, which I also played in the semi-finals as well. I played Ramucat Red round 3, and I played that in the quarterfinals as well.
How's it been when you faced it? Has it been just like super quick, or has it been okay?
Well, I was playing Jim the shop owner, and wherever I've played, I've always felt on the back foot playing against him. He's been playing a lot more longer than me, and he's a bit out of practice, but still playing against him with the zombies deck against Remington Red, I felt ahead the whole time.
Oh, okay.
And I was trying to explain it to people, and they were like, I was like, I think it's my good matchup. I think we've got a good matchup against it.
I can see that.
Everyone else was like, no, I don't think so. They're just so much quicker than you. But I felt ahead because we've got so much removal.
And life gain, haven't you?
Yeah, and their main hitter is the god. And we're just running grasps and
Dark Salvation.
So many answers to it. I didn't feel that threat. Even when he got a quick start, I felt quite confident that I had the tools to do the job.
That's the thing with the god. I obviously played it in my Rakdos list, and I wasn't able to get it out on turn 4 because I had other stuff I wanted to get rid of, or just it wasn't option to play them wherever. And when I did get him out, it just got Grasp of Darkness, or like you said, other minuses. And then even when it was like able to hit and not get removed, it was just like chunk block, and it was just terrible. Like I remember 2 games almost, I lost just purely to flying because I had just no reach or flying in the deck at all. So I don't really like the red aggro deck, even though it sounded quite good to start with.
I remember looking across, playing that game in the quarterfinals. I remember looking across to the other side of the table, the other opponent. It was Zombies versus Green Black Constrictor.
Yeah.
And the Constrictor's player sitting there with Ronas, who's of course is a 5/5.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, I'm glad I'm not playing that deck. I'm not playing against that deck because Grass doesn't kill that.
Part of the reason why I'm rooting for Zombies at the moment, I know I've been playing it for a while, but with the advent of Ramonat Red, the existence of Glorybringer in the format at all, there are, as you say, a lot of cards between Glorybringer, Hazaret, and all of their 2-drops, which you want to kill as soon as they come down, and pretty much most other creature except Ronas in the format you can Grasp with Darkness. So by being able to play a deck that can execute its game plan and not really worry about the onslaught of creatures and have access to Grasp really easily and play it on curve because you don't have any tap lands is, I think that's a really good strength of the zombie deck at the moment. And having Kalitas, conversely, as a 4 toughness creature, having access to that when everyone's running around with the braids, almost a necessary answer in itself if you can play a braid because of all the God Pharaoh's gifts and the fact it's a Incinerate. You've got some really good cards there that can really create some awkward moments for opponent if you can Grasp Hazaret and you've got a 3/4 life linking wall. What are they going to do?
Yeah, no, I agree. I found the deck really good, actually. I thought when you first gave it to me as well, it was going to be like, oh, yeah, I can play that. It's going to be quite easy. Zombies just, play creatures and smash. But it was a very challenging deck to play, actually. Just the sequencing in how you play your creatures, when to use the certain kill spells. What kill spell to use was quite important for Wem. Yeah, and I found it really fun.
That's good. You've got a lot of lines with it. Between Crypt Breaker, Colossus, and the other card, Relentless Dead. Like, what to do with your mana at the right time. Yeah. I agree. It's not just as simple as play Lords and turn things sideways. But no, I'm pleased you did well with it because it is a fun deck as well. It's nice to have these little tribal synergies which are popular with people rather than a deck which might not be as characterful, but also one that's actually doing very well at the same time, which is nice.
So that was my triumphant return back to Magic.
Yeah.
Won a draft, second games day, first at games day. Now I'm going back to Purgatory. That's the name. I don't know when I'll get to the next play Magic. Probably Commander release weekend. I'll get to play some.
Nice. As for myself, I've been basically grinding Affinity, trying to get as much practice in as possible on the build up to GP Birmingham. I've done some leagues online, and in terms of actual performance, it's been fairly abysmal. I think the last 2 leagues, oh my gosh, it's been so bad. The last 2 leagues I've done, I've gone 1-4, 1-3, and just like dropped. I dropped one league because I just rage quit it because I got paired up against this mono white prison deck, which was running Phyrexian Unlife, which is if you get below 0 life, you can't lose the game for it, and you get damage done as if you have effect. All sources of damage would have effect. Yeah. So it basically kind of, if you use it on its own, it gains, it's like an extra 10 life buffer. But then he was also running it with Solemnity, which means you can't get counters.
I find a bit out for that.
Yeah. And obviously in Affinity, you have, especially in the main deck, you've got literal 0 answers to that.
That enchantment removal though.
Yeah. So I scooped game 1, and then I basically only have like Thought Seizes to try and stop this nonsense from happening. And as soon as he resolved it in game 2, that was it. So I conceded again. I was just like raging, just like, no, not playing anymore. That's it, done.
I think a lot of decks don't have an answer to that in the main, do they?
No.
Bit like Worship, I used to run that a lot in that Planeswalker deck I had. I used to have Sylvan Caryatids, which obviously by hexproof, and as long as obviously I didn't block with it, and I had Worship. If they didn't have any enchantment removal, I just won game 1. And it was an awkward moment of playing against elves. Again, obviously that was modern with Planeswalkers, and the guy was cording for 3. I was like, oh, here comes like the one Reclamation Sage main deck to get rid of Worship, now I'm going to lose. And literally his whole library was like, oh. I was like, oh, no Reclamation Sage. He was like, yeah. So I just want to go to game 2. Like,
Brilliant.
So what are you going to put in your sideboard to counteract it?
Oh, I'm not, because I'm basically hoping that is a fringe thing and I won't see it. And that's basically my plan. I will have, again, Thought Seizes. But the difficult thing with it is Enchantment Hate tends to be difficult to cast. Because what you'll find is if they have enchantments like that, they're probably a white deck. Or the biggest thing you need to fear is obviously Stony Silence. So
yeah. Given
you only run one basic land and it's not the colour to cast said enchantment removal, and the other 4 lands you run, there's only other 4 lands you run that can cast any colour you want. If they resolve the Stony Silence, all your Springleaf Drums and Mox Opals can't cast the enchantment removal colours.
Yeah.
So you get this really awkward spot where you could bring it in and then just either A, not be able to cast it, or B, they haven't even drawn it, in which case you've drawn a brick and you can't execute your Affinity game plan. Everyone I've spoken to and all the advice I've sort of sought on the deck as well tends to be that you want to just be as linear as possible, but sideboard into things that can kind of disrupt and protect you a little bit without really diluting your game plan.
I've got two thoughts. One, do you run Fire of Industry?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, because obviously that gives you access to whatever colour you want, which makes it a bit more flexible if you need white or whatever. My other one is you could run stuff like Echoing Truth, just like permanent hate or permanent disruption, just to give you a turn to kill them with, I guess. And I'm guessing blue is easy for you to access, but
that's what the Storm decks are doing, actually.
I mean, Echoing Truth is always good if you're blue, which can't get rid of any permanents, but just need a turn to be able to get through to something. So I think that's a fine option if you think blue is far more accessible than you risking it to get proper white enchantment removal.
I've got a little bit of time tomorrow, and I'm going to do a league again. I might test that out, actually, because that's interesting.
All that it relies on, like it's definitely a good option. Echoing Truth is always a good card against anything that is tricky in an opponent's deck. The only thing that you have to rely on is that you can kill them in one turn.
Yeah.
And as long as you know you can do that reliably, like without them doing any other sort of nonsense or whatever, then I think that's a perfect option.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Played a little game earlier today, and they had Stony Silence, I had a Cranial Plating, and an extra champion, and I was thinking, I just need to activate this plating once, and they're dead.
Yeah.
So, situations like that, it might just be all you need, just to bounce that, and then equip, and then you're fine.
When they dropped Salinity, what life total were they on? Were they quite close to 0 already?
Game 1, they were at 1 life.
Yeah.
So my point is, like, you don't necessarily need to bounce it and then do 20 damage. Because say if they've got Phyrexian Unlife and Solemnity, you just bounce Solemnity and all you have to do is 11 damage. Or you don't even need, like, your Inkmoth might have been given them counters already kind of thing. It's probably only 10 rather than 20 you need to do for one turn.
That is actually really interesting food for thought. That's the other thing as well is whether you run 1 or 2 basics. So a lot of people will have 4 rainbow lands, either Spires of Industry or Glimmer Voids, or some combination of the 2. So they'll have those as the rainbow lands and then 1 basic, but some lists run only 3 rainbow lands and 2 basics because of Path to Exile and Ghost Quarter as well. I could go Mountain Island and that gives me access to blue outside of that. And also the Stony Silence decks tend to run Path to Exile as well. So yeah, no, that's I like that. I think that's definitely worth testing. Definitely, thank you.
That's it. It's just more changes to make the night before the
yes.
GP.
I know we did these podcasts for a reason.
Yeah. All right, then, so speaking of Modern, I just kind of wanted to give an overview of the format and interesting to kind of get your thoughts on how you might attack the meta game, even if it's just a couple of thoughts, not necessarily a deck choice per se. Zombie, yeah, thank you. Yeah. Standard zombies, just port that deck right over. Because the big decks that are prevalent at the moment are Death Shadow variants, most commonly Grixis Death Shadow, Eldrazi Tron, and then there is at the moment quite a lot of Valakut decks as well, Primeval Titan decks as well. So obviously they kind of fit into the Valakut decks anyway because they're running Primeval Titan. What's it called? Amulet Titan decks as well. So like they run the Amulet of Vigor.
Yeah.
So they combo off with all their lands that give you Titan double strike and.
Is Amulet of Vigor the one if something comes in tapped, it comes in untapped?
Yeah.
You untap it, it's a triggered thing, so actually you can respond to it. So having multiple do stack, which is really broken.
Oh.
Was it the Ravnica lands where they?
Naps.
That's the one. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And Azusa Lost But Seeking, so they can play 2 extra lands per turn, ramp stupidly, and turn 4 kill quite easily.
I'm going to chuck my advice out already. 2 words, Blood Moon.
Blood Moon.
Whatever deck, I don't care what the deck is, just run something before Blood Moon's in, done.
God Pharaoh's Gift.
I like it.
Blood Moon and God Pharaoh's Gift. Yeah.
Why? Make us of the Moon and God Pharaoh's Gift. Make it a 4/4, can't be bolted, now that's better.
Yes. Although, there isn't much bolt in the format at the moment, unless you're in Burn.
I did notice that, and I'm kind of tempted to take advantage of that, because one of the things I don't like about Modern is just anything with 3 toughness is generally a bad choice.
Yeah, not anymore.
So I might actually just take advantage of that and just build decks I thought were bad. So, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, if you can get around Fatal Push...
3 toughness.
What?
Reality Smasher.
Well, there you go. That is played in the Eldrazi Tron. You know, turn 3 Reality Smashers. Can you get it out sooner than that? To double Eldrazi?
Turn 3 you can get it out.
Yeah, turn 3. Okay, yeah, I was right, turn 3. It's Thought Not See you can get on turn 2, isn't it?
Yeah, you just do double temple.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
The old turn 2 Thought Not See, a turn 3 Smasher.
Yep, it's pretty good. I do think it's bad.
Yeah. So actually, I think that's not terrible advice, actually, the whole Blood Moon thing, because that hits Eldrazi Tron, that hits all the Valakut stuff, and that hits Grixis Shadow, because they played 2 basics.
The only thing I can see that it doesn't deal with at all is Storm and Burn. Everything else, like Valakut, Junk, Bant, Tron, it'll get rid of.
Yeah. Affinity is the other thing as well. You shut off their man lands, but depends what else you're running to deal with Affinity. Especially if you've got Blood Moons to turn off their man lands, and then you can play things like Shatterstorm. That's quite upsetting for the Affinity player.
I was going to say, if you've got access to red, and have access to red to break something.
Yeah. So, Simon, any thoughts for you, other than just playing random zombies and Reality Smashers in the same deck?
No, I'm not. I'm probably not the person to ask about a modern GP.
That's fair enough. I just wondered if you had any ideas.
Keep hydrated and eat well.
Sound advice for any situation. But
yeah, I can only day 2 limited GPs.
Fair enough.
The only day 2 I've made for a GP was when I was working one.
Excellent. You made it though. That's good.
Yeah, I was not fired, so making day 2.
It was He only scraped it. He only scraped it on 1%.
Yeah, I was like winning in finally. Yeah. I'm just looking at the top 8 at the moment, the one that was most recent. I don't even know how to pronounce this place. Syracuse? I don't know how to say it. Anyone know this place? It was an SCG tournament, I don't know. But this place, 5th place was Bant.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's the one with Collective Company, loads of spirits.
Oh, spirits.
I did run it once. It was really good fun. This one doesn't have Tameo like the other one did, but it's kind of making me want to try it again because it was quite fun, actually.
Yeah, Collective Company makes for some unfair turns.
Well, because you go they go, oh, do this. You go in response to Collective Company, and then if they try and respond, if you hit a Mausoleum Wanderer, you just counter it.
Yeah.
And the Mausoleum Wanderers see whatever the other spirit is. And then you can run stuff like Geist and Kira and Drogskull Captains, all the other stuff gets hexproof and it's good. Oh, and Temple Spirit as well. So, and Spellqueller, obviously. So, I'm tempted to build this again because at the moment, out of the stuff I'm seeing in the top sort of meta, I've actually got this whole deck, so I could always build that again if I want. And it seems to be doing okay.
It can be very powerful. I got absolutely wrecked by Collective Company into double Drogskull Captain.
The only thing I didn't like about it was it's a bit inconsistent. You can't really rely on it. And particularly if the opponent is doing very obvious things like Affinity or Tron or whatever, you can't. You know you've got options, but you can't get to them like you would any other deck. I'm not sure if that's where I want to be, but it has got just loads of stuff I like, so I don't know.
That's fair. I think
like Collected Company into Spell Queller, that's cool, and it's sure if you've got like one of the Lords and it's a 3/4 flyer, but it still feels bad that you don't get to counter something.
I think with Modern in general though, like as far as a fair deck goes, I think it's pretty strong, and that's probably its only weakness is that it is just a fair deck. You know, like it's always going to struggle against something like utterly non-interactive like Storm, where it can just go, everything you've done is pointless and you now lost. Probably the only bad thing. But then if you're blue, you can just board it to counter magic. So like, it's definitely an interesting deck for sure. That's just why I've gone with Affinity, because like
how well has Affinity been doing on the Modern scene lately?
I don't know about the recent one. I think it was Las Vegas. There was a top. I think that won Affinity, if I remember rightly, or there was at least top 8. So it's one of these decks, a little bit like Burn. It's always going. You're very likely to always play it. It's so powerful what it's doing that people will just run it, especially people that have played it, and that's their deck.
I think it's always in contention, but at the end of the day, it depends how well it does. It's dependent on how prepared people's sideboards are to meet it.
It's like I think it's a perfect example is like Dredge. Like if Dredge is performing well, people will pack their relics and they'll shut that out of the format. And it's the same with Affinity. If that's putting up results week on week, then people will go, well, I'll load up on the artifact hate, and then Affinity has a harder time breaking through.
It's like Bogles. Bogles is so easy to counter, but no one ever has stuff for it. But just because
take Bogles,
I'm not
take
playing.
Bogles.
I'm not taking Bogles.
People aren't really. People will go, what idiot's going to take Bogles? I don't have to bring my enchantment hate.
No. Boggle.
Or my sacrifice effects.
If I had Bogles, I'd definitely play it.
I can't imagine it going against Grixis and that ending well. Turn 1 Thoughtseize your Boggle. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, true. Lifelink's good.
Lifelink is very good, actually. It's why if I was playing Affinity versus Bogles, I'd just give up on actually attacking them and try and win with an Eatmoth. What we've summarised then is you need to play an unfair deck which needs Blood Moons and Bogles. And you'll
hasn't won for a while.
That hasn't won for a while.
It doesn't sound like it would have done.
and you'll be golden. So I love it.
Yeah.
Sound advice.
Moon Bogles.
I would play that. I would play the hell out of that.
Bogles likes enchantments anyway, doesn't it? So it'll go well.
It's wrong that I'm like brewing this in my mind now.
Well, Bogles used to be super expensive, didn't it? Because you've got obviously like Dawnbreak Coronet, but now they're like super cheap.
Yeah.
It's the only other expensive thing. Is it Horizon Canopies, whatever they're called?
Oh god, yeah.
Horizon Canopies are ridiculously expensive.
But, I'm guessing if you were to splash red, you probably wouldn't want to run those. So if Dawnbreak Coronet's the most expensive thing, it wouldn't be too bad. I'm gonna brew this. This is my job at work tomorrow, to brew a Moon Boggle deck.
Do it. I want to see.
I'll let you guys know.
Are you going to Birmingham, Grant?
No, I've been a bit out of sync with Magic, so I don't feel that confident in what I haven't done fantastically every GP I've gone to. So to me, it's not worth the money. I'd rather just consistently go to one nearby.
Do you want to judge?
It was fairly nearby, but again, I sort of slowly was realising that if you're an L3, you can actually make some good money judging and stuff. But as an L2, like particularly in another country, you don't really even make your money back as long as you're actually like going out and having fun in the evenings kind of thing. So it's okay. I might do another one soon, but at the moment, I think I'm just happy doing local. I mean, I haven't even done like a PPTQ for a while now. So although I've got 3 coming up because obviously it's that season soon, isn't it? I think it's next month they all start. I think I've got 3 or 4 in my calendar, so I'll probably get to see most of these things.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a little bit of modern talk. The next thing I want to do is take a little break, and then when we come back, we'll play the Flavour Text Game.
Boo!
Are you both ready?
Yeah.
If you weren't tuned in for the last time we played this, essentially I have a couple of cards here, and I will read the flavour text to Simon, and he's got to basically guess the card. And we'll do a couple for Grant as well, and see who is the winner of the episode at the end of this. Now, the only caveat to this is I'm not going to pick the most obscure cards. I will pick cards that I think they should know what they are. So it gives them a fighting chance. So, Simon, are you ready?
No.
Good. So your first bit of flavour text is: lost to time is the artificer's art of trapping light from a distant star in a ring of purest gold.
Oh, come on now.
What artificers? Say it again.
Lost to time is the artificer's art of trapping light from a distant star in a ring of purest gold.
Soul Ring.
Yeah.
Oh, God's sake.
Was that it?
Yeah.
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 Grant, did you get it immediately?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What version is it? Or is it on
This is a Commander
Master
version.
Commander version?
One of the Commander versions. I don't know which one. Commander something or other.
Mm.
Okay.
It's
That's
got
up.
like the most reprinted card ever by now, surely.
Quite possibly. Either that or Bolt. Bolt's had quite a few.
Grizzly Bear.
Yeah, I think you can give a run for its money.
That's true. Okay. Grant, you feeling confident?
Always.
Good. Okudoku had gone through all the motions, the same Aki curse words, the same ingredients with their horrid stink, the same rude gestures, yet not a person died.
Oh. It's not stifle, it's something along those lines. Is it like squelch or something?
Yes!
Oh,
Nailed it.
What? How the hell did you guess that?
I am good with cards. That's actually sort of my job.
There must be a website that just says, what is the magic flavour?
So, Simon, for bonus points, do you know what squelch does?
No. Is it? I'm guessing it's red.
No.
Green?
2-mana instant, counter target activated ability, draw a card.
Oh.
It's from
Like I said,
Kamigawa?
quite stifle, but not.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
impressed,
it's got a
Grant.
weird little goblin on there.
It does, yeah.
Kamigawa goblins, the spiky ones.
Yeah.
Scratching his head and puzzled.
Mm.
Excellent work. Okay, Simon, your next one.
Okay.
There are so many of them, it seems they've just been waiting for someone to serve.
Rally the Peasants. I think that's quite a good guess.
That's not a bad guess. You're kind of along the right lines of there being many, but that's not right. Grant, do you know?
I don't know. I'm tempted to go something along the lines of slivers, but no, I don't know. I'm very sliver hive mind, but I don't know.
Nah, that's fair enough. It was Liliana's Mastery.
Oh, I did think zombies as well.
Yeah. I thought maybe Simon, when you've been playing it over the weekend, you might have read it.
Yeah.
No, what I found is I didn't read a lot of my cards. I missed a lot of my own triggers, including when they should have died.
You didn't even remember the flavours.
Yeah.
Important bit.
Yeah. No, yeah, I was a bit rusty playing. I don't know how I won. Probably by missing triggers like when my creature should have died. So, yeah. Need to work on that.
Okay then, Grant, your second one is: don't underestimate the aerodynamic qualities of the common goblin.
Goblin grenade.
Yeah. No, that's too easy.
I lost to that last week.
Yeah.
Underestimated deck.
Oh, I've got a goblin grenade in front of me as well. I would have got that.
You went 3-0 that with that deck on last Monday.
Goblin Grenade is good at ruining your FNM.
It was good at ruining your mind. You're like, oh my god, I'm on a multiple of 5 as life. I'm just dead, aren't I? And then you start to undermine this.
I'm on 15. I am dead to triple Goblin Grenade.
Exactly.
Oh. Okay. All right then, Simon. If you think about this one, Simon, I'm pretty sure you'll get it. Which probably means nothing, but there we are. Okay, so it's your last one.
Okay.
Eldrazi? Ha! Try walking through Zulaport at night with your pockets full. Now that's dangerous.
I love this one.
Zulaport at night with you.
You've actually played a deck with this card as well.
Is it the 1/1 2-mana when a creature you control dies, you gain a life, your opponent loses a life?
Yeah.
Is it Zulaport Cutthroat?
Boom. Yeah. So I thought that was an easy one because, again, it had half of the title in the flavour text. So I thought, you've got to get this, Simon.
It means nothing. All right, your turn, Luke.
What? Oh.
The second wind of ascension is Reaver, slaying the unworthy.
Plot twist.
Do you know it, Rob?
I had no idea. I just thought the the contestant asking the question master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like this
No.
change in dynamic.
Haven't got a clue, have you?
Well,
No,
have you just picked up like the most obscure comment you found like on your?
I can do that as well.
There was more obscure ones on the table.
Okay. Am I allowed a clue?
Probably. I don't know what I'd give you.
Is it because you don't even know what the card is either?
I do. I've got the name in front of me.
Yeah, but what sets it from?
Oh, it's old.
Yeah, it's
It's got multiple printings. You would never have played it as a competitive player. You would never have played it.
Doesn't really narrow it down.
Okay.
I have absolutely no idea.
Oh,
Plague Wind.
Oh, Plague Wind. Curses. Well,
Spoiled at your own game.
yeah. Had wind in the text as well. Yeah, rubbish.
he's going then.
Grant, this is your last one.
Oh.
Everything here exists or perishes at my whim, including you, Gatewatch.
Oh.
No.
That's obviously a Nicol Bolas card.
And it is a quote by. Then it says Nicol Bolas. It's a quote.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what that would go best with. I'm tempted to say whatever the playmat art is, that Reign of Devastation, whatever it's called, the black one.
I don't think it is that.
Oh no, I think I know which one it is. Is it the one? I don't know. No, I think it's wrong. It's the only one I can think of. Is it that one where it's a really obscure one that's not worth any money? It's the one where is it if you cast something of a certain value, it does something? I can't remember. It's Nicol Bolas in front of those pyramids and they're all collapsing.
No, a little bit cold.
Yeah.
You were you weren't right, but you're actually closer with Reign of Hellfire.
Oh, okay, sure.
Is it Hour of Devastation?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've
I
got one
thought.
for both of you because I've got a card in front of me that is not obscure that you might actually be able to get.
Okay.
And Lee, you should know this.
No.
A beacon of prosperity to some, a shadow of repression to others.
Right, say it again. I missed it.
A beacon of prosperity to some, a shadow of oppression to others. It technically doesn't have the name of the card in the title, but it sort of does.
What was that?
Not ley line of something.
I'll give you a clue. You'll be playing it in the deck of Sacred of Birmingham.
Ooh.
Simon, any ideas?
No.
Luke?
It's not Blink
Mox
Mox Nexus, is it? No, it would
It's
be
not. What?
Beacon of. Not Mox.
No. The clue is beacon. Like I said, it's not in the title, but another word for beacon is in the title.
Light.
No.
I'm trying to think of beacony things. Why don't I get this?
Is it something you need to add to your deck
I'm looking
No,
through my deck
before
now.
the GP weekend?
We were literally talking about it when we were giving the advice.
It's not
Blood
Blood
Moon.
Moon.
I was going to say Blood Moon, but then I thought, no, I don't recognise that flavour text.
That does not make sense.
No, exactly.
Is it a Boggle? A slippery Boggle?
This is painful. Why don't I know this? You're
I'll
upsetting
give
me.
you another clue. It's from Kaladesh.
Oh, Spire of Industry.
Yeah.
I bloody knew that. I knew that. I've read that. Ah. I've read that recently as well because I remember thinking, oh yeah, it's very Canada-y with the group
Well,
of.
Ace of Revolt, I should say.
That's the yeah. Ah.
Yep.
You're right. I should have known that. Shame on me. Even looking through my deck box, cheating. I couldn't.
Yeah.
No. Well done for showing me up. That's not how that's supposed to work, but excellent. So I think that was pretty much a draw in the end because you each guessed one of the others. So yeah, well done.
Yay! Everyone wins.
Everyone's a winner except me, who didn't guess any. Okay then, so next up, Grant, what have you got for us in the way of a spicy brew?
Okay. The deck is a red-white deck. Like I said, this is for modern. It is named after the card that the deck is about, but that won't help you because the title of the deck is Bludgeon Brawl, which I'm guessing none of you have heard of.
I have heard this. This is a is it Bludgeon Brawler, or is it the artifact that turns into a thing?
No, it's an enchantment just called Bludgeon Brawl.
Mm-hmm.
It does something stupid. I reckon. Is it Phyrexia?
Yeah.
Yeah, I recognise it, but I can't take. Yeah, I remember it, but I can't think what it does.
Okay, Bludgeon Brawl is an enchantment, 3 mana, that says each non-creature, non-equipment artifact, so basically just normal artifact, is an equipment with equip X, and equip creature gets plus X plus 0, where X is that artifact's converted mana cost. So, say you had an artifact that cost 2, it would be 2 to equip, and it would give it plus 2 plus 0.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's two directions you can go with this deck. You can either have a deck with lots of big artifacts and you run stuff like Pure Steel Paladin, which means that it's free to equip, or you go down the super stupid route, which I like about this one, which is basically you just fill the deck with loads of zero cost artifacts, which mean they're free to equip, and you put them on creatures that have stuff when they get equipped by things.
Yeah.
So the whole deck is basically built around a card called Goblin Gavlineer, which is a 1-mana 1/1 trample, and it gets +2/+0 for each equipment attached to it.
No.
I like that guy. Oh, that guy used to be awesome.
Yeah. It also runs Pure Steel Paladin, as I said, so you get to draw cards. And it runs Kemba, the card regent, so you get to make cats if you want. But basically, it runs a Quarter Shield, because that's obviously already zero. It's got Glint Hawk Idol, Mox Opals, Spider Silk Necks, a couple of swords in it, and Welding Jars. And effectively, obviously, all the Welding Jars, shields, opals, whatever, you can then put on the Gavlineer for free, which gives it like a, +9 whatever, or +10 something. And then you just attack this crazy goblin, or you put it on Kemba, you get lots of cats, and yeah, it's just silly. You're turning normal artifacts into weapons that aren't very big, but because it's a goblin, they are quite big.
I love it. I love how you can Welding Jar equipment with a regen shield as well. That's hilarious.
Yeah. It also runs Galvanic Blast just because.
Yeah.
And it also runs X Champions, again, just because. It runs Glint Hawk as well, which is the 1-mana 2/2 flyer, which you get to, or you have to bounce an artifact, which obviously isn't a problem because you'll get obviously a free cast, and obviously you'll get to draw a card for Pure Steel Paladin as well.
Nice.
Oh yeah, just an interesting rules thing as well. So Pure Steel Paladin says whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. Well, Bludgeon Brawl says that each non-creature, non-equipment artifact is an equipment. So when you play Welding Jar, it will come in as an artifact. As an equipment. So you'll get to draw a card off of it.
Sick.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, obviously a Quarter Shield you get it straight away because it's already an equipment without the Bludgeon Brawl. But as long as you've got Pure Steel Paladin and Bludgeon Brawl, all the other stuff counts as well. So. But yeah, equipping a Goblin with a few Mox Opals and a Welding Jar it's just. I mean, obviously it dies to any kind of removal of this deck, but it just seems too hilarious not to want to play.
Yeah.
Do you play artifact lands in there as well, just for extra value?
This one doesn't, but
I would.
I also agree with that. Non-creature, non-equipment.
Yeah, Dark Steel Citadel.
Yeah, I'm gonna edit this deck right now and put those in. That makes no sense.
Draw some cards. Give your Goblin a +2/+0. Don't you have to tap the land?
Exactly, absolute nonsense. So basically, yeah, put lots of cheap artifacts, which are now equipped onto the Goblin, kill them with Goblin, hope Goblin doesn't get removed by any removal in the game. That is.
And how well does the deck fare if you don't draw Bludgeon Brawl?
This is what I was saying before, obviously Bludgeon Brawl is where you want to be. You've got the option of just equipping normal equipment onto it. Like I said, you run Spider Silk Net, you run Quarter Shield.
Okay. Yeah.
So you've got 8, plus the swords of Fire and Ice and Sword of Light and Shadow, you've got 10 equipments that are just normal. So if you don't draw the Bludgeon Brawl, because there's only 3 in the deck, because you don't really want, more than 1 in your hand, you can still do it that way. And, you can also just go back the normal way and just have Galvanic Blast and just edge champions with stuff on them. So it's, it's fine as well. A lot of these decks I found there was a Reddit thread, which anyone can easily find just by typing in $5 or budget modern decks in Magic kind of thing. And a lot of these were budget decks. And obviously this one isn't because it's got Kemba. Actually, to be fair, Kemba's quite cheap now, but it's got stuff like Mox Opals. But you could quite easily do this with any other. There's plenty of theory artifacts out there, even ones that aren't equipment. There's that Dark Steel Trinket, the one that says it's 0 cost, it's indestructible and has no abilities whatsoever.
Yeah.
It was there to contribute towards Metalcraft, but you could equip truckloads of 10p. Cheap artifacts on this Goblin and kill them with it. So this one's just a bit more efficient because the Mox Opals. For sideboard stuff as well, Dismembers and Ghost Force and stuff. But it also runs Dispatch, which is basically 1 mana tap a creature. If you've got Metalcraft, then just exile that creature. So it's just like a path to exile and no drawback.
Dispatch is good.
Again, there's different ways you can go with this deck. You can either go down the equipment route with Pure Steel Paladin, or you can go down just have normal artifacts, just rely on getting Bludgeon Brawl and just go all in. But the list I've got of this is kind of a mixture between the two. But again, as I said, you can easily find, if you start in Bludgeon Brawl, you'll find loads of decks which are either one or the other.
Looks quite fun.
Yeah. Oh, Darksteel Relic, that's what it's called. The 0 is indestructible, that's it.
Yes.
Oh, you can also run Fling if you want. Attack with Big Goblin, chuck Big Goblin, win the game.
Fling.
That classic modern staple.
Oh, yeah. Also, you can run the little mana things as well, like the Sphere of Suns, which is only 2 mana, so it's quite cheap. You get like 3 charges out of it for mana, and then it doesn't do anything. But of course, you can just equip to your goblin and use it while it's doing that. Incidentally, as well, from a rules perspective, of course, when you tap creatures with equipment on, the equipment isn't tapped. Normally that doesn't matter at all, but of course in a situation like this where you've got Mox Opals or whatever, it would actually make sense to only tap the creature in this situation.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it means you can have the improvised synergies as well.
Indeed. Yeah, it's quite important if you look at it with, alternate costs or, using something as it's not normally used and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is one of the sillier decks I've got, but there are plenty to go, of course.
I like it.
Yeah, a goblin just going crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, then, so is there anything else that either of you wanted to chat about?
I think we're good. You're, getting more or less fully prepared for Birmingham.
Well, I'm pretty much settled on my deck now. There's like 1 or 2 cards that I might tweak in the sideboard based on a little bit of sort of final playing around with it.
Echoing Truth and such.
Yeah, but I think with Modern, there are certain matchups I need to avoid, and I just need to play well. It might just be that I lose to non-interactive decks, and I don't always like to not be accountable for my losses, if that makes sense. I don't just like to go, there's nothing I could have done. But I think in Modern, sometimes people just go off and...
Well, you are accountable. You picked the wrong deck.
That's true.
That's the case.
Yeah.
If that happens more times than not, then it means you've made a bad meta call.
Yeah, there is that. But what I'm hoping is that I can get under all of that. That's my plan for it. I'm not sort of going into it thinking, if I play certain things, there's nothing I can do. I've got a plan for every matchup that I can think of, and I just need to play well. Just try and get through some of the craziness that Modern will throw at me.
I'm not there.
No, but I mean, it's so weird. Like you've got decks that take infinite turns. You've got decks that make a walking ballista infinitely huge and shoot you with it. You've got Storm. You've got other Affinity players. You've got these mono white enchantment decks. You've got Grixis, Shadow. There's so many different ways you could approach or play the format, and it's quite mind blowing in a way. It's always a little bit like before an event. I kind of just want it to be the event now, rather than waiting before it, because then you start thinking, what if I do this? What if I switch that? That's why I'm pretty much sorted on what I'm going to take, and I've just got.
We look forward to seeing you in the feature match area.
Yeah, I will be merciless though if that is the case. Not let my opponent take things back like that other guy, the last feature match I was at Dark Sphere.
You let him take things back?
I most certainly did not.
No.
He tried to. I think I mentioned this before. He basically cast.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. He cast a spell and was like, no. Mike was behind me and he said, if you hadn't said anything, Luke, I would have called a judge. It was that obvious. But at the end of the day, if I was him and I've made that mistake, I would have tried to take it back, because it was so one of those things. It was so silly, and he shouldn't have done it, and he knew he shouldn't have done it. It was kind of like, oh crap, I've made this mistake now. My only hope is they'll be like, oh no, I didn't mean that.
Well, were you talking about the guy in the finals of was it the Pro Tour trying to take back his illegal move? Was it Pro Tour? GP where he tried to attack with
Oh God, did you hear about that, Grant?
No.
So Paolo
Dini.
Huh? No. Not Paolo. The other famous Paolo.
Oh, okay.
Paolo Vita Dama de Rosa.
I was going to say it's the band.
No. Oh, damn you. PV. can't even speak now.
Sure.
He was playing this other guy who I can't remember his name. They're both on Ramonat Red, and his opponent basically he had Hazoret on the table and 1 card in hand that was Collective Defiance, I think, and he needed to top deck a burn spell, and the combined damage from those 2 burn spells and a Hazoret attack would kill PV, and I think it was like he would win basically, and he drew his card, saw it was a burn spell, Incendiary Flow, and the crowd in the other room went batshit crazy, and he could kind of hear it. He obviously, heart starts racing, is like, yes, this is great, I've got my 2 burn spells, I've got Hazoret, we're doing this. Looked across, went, go to combat, and then tried to attack. PV immediately was like, judge, and then that was it. And unfortunately, he's written a whole article on this as well, like about his absolute just miserable experience. It can happen to the best of us, and
that's why we look forward to seeing Luke in the feature match.
Yeah, watch me break.
Oh my god!
If I just fall out of my chair at some point, you know that it's not going well. All he had to do was play Magic, and he'd be fine. And I think it's so easy just to go. Bleh. And if you think like he's been playing like 2 days, however many rounds, he must be just so fried.
Yeah.
I remember watching the little interview Jerry Thompson when he won the Pro Tour with Black Zombies. He was being really polite and nice, and he just said, "Yeah, no, I'm doing what I can. I've got this splitting headache." And it was almost like he was saying, "I don't really want to be talking to you now." And but he did all that like whilst like completely just drained. And it's a lot, I think, and it's impressive that people don't make more mistakes in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Pee-wee must have knew he was out. He's just like, "Oh great, crowd's cheering, I'm dead," and he's on it. As soon as he makes the play mistake, that's it. Judge.
Yep. Crushing.
Give me my win.
Yeah.
And my giant check. That was a costly mistake. That wasn't just a normal match. That cost him thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
He's gonna hate that card.
Yeah. So that is all for now from us. Thank you very much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, give us some feedback on our Facebook page. You can search up Glimmer of Genius or at Glimmer of Genius on Facebook. Search us up on Facebook and leave a comment. Follow the group and keep up to date with whenever we are sending out podcasts. We can also be found on the MTG Cast network. That is mtgcast.com, as well as our own podcast website, which is glimmerofgenius.podbean.com. Also, if you're interested in even more Magic the Gathering content, then please check out my YouTube channel, Vincent Games, which you can find in the description below, or search up Vincent Games on YouTube. Once again, thanks very much for listening, and stay tuned for more.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
I've got to go.
No, that's all good. Thank you both.
Far too late. It's like gone 11.
I know, it's terrible.
Yeah, old man. It's too late for us.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to be up in like 1, half 1.
Nice.
Night feeds.
Yeah, I'm hoping they just sleep through.
Good luck.
Let's give them some kettle pole.
I miss cowpole.
Yeah, no, it tastes better than you remember.
Yeah, the under 3 month stuff was delicious.
Yeah. I remember when you got changed to like the 7-year-old custom. It's orange and
Stole that. Pink stuff. Right. Anyway, we're going a bit weird. We should probably leave it there.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.
Good luck.
Thank you.
We don't see you beforehand.
Yeah, exactly.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.